All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Tuesday, January 28th. We got a 4-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to my final plays, so I'm ultimately rolling with myself. If that does interest you, all free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3, 4 more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. All right, in terms of how we did yesterday, hold on. Just for the guppies. What is that? 6-0. 6-0. Firing off the money gun. Let's go. 6-0 yesterday, which is crazy because conference championship weekend with the NBA. So on Sunday, we go 5-0 in the NFL, 2-0 in the NBA, and now 6-0 the next day in the NBA. We'll take the cha-ching. We'll pump in some damn crowd noise. Hopefully we're not jinxing it moving forward, but we have a little bit of momentum. We got to feel it beneath our feet, right? We had Jaren Jackson Jr. over 19.5 points. He finishes with 21, but he was off to the races pretty early there. That cashes. Heat money line. Double overtime thriller, I guess we could say. They cash. Max Strus and Darius Garland. Man, oh man, I lost like 6 pounds sweating that one out, but ultimately cash. And then the two that are, I guess the one that we didn't have to sweat was Pelicans, Raptors under. That one was a good one. And then, yeah, Zach LaVine hits a 3 near the end of the game for the Bulls. Vucevic was in there early, but LaVine hits a 3 to get to 18, and we cashed that one. You know what? We're owed this. One more cha-ching there. Hopefully we're not jinxing it moving forward, which we definitely do from time to time here. In terms of the ride of the day, that vibe stays way up here. We had Ryan coming in with James Harden over 14.5 rebounds plus assists. Shout out to Ryan. I will do it. I was going to say I will not use the soundboard anymore here at the beginning of the video, but you know what? This is a good look as well. Harden over 14.5 rebounds plus assists. Harden had a good game yesterday. We liked him in the video, right? I liked his points, which he ended up hitting 24 points, but he had over 14.5 rebounds plus assists. He had 10 assists and 6 rebounds. So all in all, really good day yesterday. Shout out to Ryan here. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. Just use that hashtag ride of the day in the comments. I jump aboard with one person's play each and every day. Give you a shout out on my next video, also on my Twitter right there, and you get a shout out on the Guy Boston Sports site with the final plays. If you win, we continue to ride with your plays like we will do with Ryan today. If you lose, unfortunately, you got to face the womp womp, which we're not doing today because we had a good night and Ryan had a hit with the ride of the day. But get those hashtag ride of the days in there. We get the question sometimes, why bother using that comment when someone's already on a streak? Because yes, that is to enter and get in there, but there's a couple reasons. Say Ryan doesn't get to dropping a ride of the day today. We need to go with someone else. So there's one reason, right? And secondarily, a lot of these plays just help a lot of other people out in the comment section. So even though we may not jump on board with one, still helping out a ton of people, right? So yeah, go ahead and use that hashtag right of the day in the comments. But yeah, we're a little excited this morning, I guess. We're probably talking a mile a minute, but hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into today's slate. All right, so admittedly, this is not the best of slates. We had a great day yesterday, great day the day before, but I talk about bringing momentum into this one, and it's like we should be a little cautious. We have 4 games, all but one, I believe just the Trailblazers, all but one are either on a back-to-back or on a first leg of a back-to-back, so definitely worth noting there as the Warriors and Sixers, they didn't play yesterday, but they play tomorrow, right? And then everyone else, again, excluding the Blazers, played last night. So this first game, we're looking at Atlanta versus Houston, both teams on a back-to-back, and Houston coming off of a win against my Boston Celtics with a Thompson game winner. I mean, him and Dylan, like, that was a weird game. This Celtics team, this is not a Celtics video, so we don't have to talk about it, but as a Celtics fan, I'm screaming at the screen like, what are we doing, guys? You know what I mean? You're too good to be doing this. Now, the Rockets are a great team. They are a great team. They're proving that, right? But the Celtics just like, I mean, they lost that game. This is a biased fan take. They lost that game just as much as Houston won it, if that makes sense. But we're talking about the Rockets and Atlanta here. We had a lot of really good games last night. This is a spot in which, yeah, you don't want to keep an eye on the injury report. This is a fairly healthy Houston team, but they are on a back-to-back. But that said, they're going up against Atlanta, who's also on a back-to-back. Atlanta on back-to-backs this season, only covering in 33% of their games. Houston, meanwhile, 57.1%. So some decent looks there. I will say the injury report's important. Trae Young still questionable. Dyson Daniels, who I believe missed yesterday, right? Listed as questionable or doubtful here today, but they're on a back-to-back, so we'll wait a little bit longer for their final injury report. Jalen Johnson, Larry Nance, and Zeller, the bigs that are out here. Zeller's been out for a while. So you have Ricochet and Okongwu down low against Sengun and Dylan Brooks. I think the Rockets should be able to honestly dominate down low here, and you're getting a decent price because they're on a back-to-back. So I am going to lean towards Houston here in this spot. My one concern, and it is only my one concern, is the fact that they just won a game. Like, are they so due for a letdown here? You know they were looking forward to that Celtics game, circling it on the calendar, and then boom, they win in a game-winning fashion. Like, is this just kind of like a trap I got you type of a spot, right? Because let's make no mistake, this Atlanta team is struggling right now. They've lost 5 straight games. They're 4-6 against the number in their last 10. Yeah, they covered yesterday, but honestly, they were getting blown up for a lot of that game. So the fact that we're only looking at a 7 number seems a little bit trappy, but I'll lean towards the Rockets here in this spot. I really can't make much of an argument for Atlanta, especially given the fact that they like to score in the paint too, and Houston should absolutely dominate the paint in this game. In terms of what we have from a total, it's sitting at 227. It makes sense to me why this thing would, I guess what was Atlanta's total yesterday? 217, and then Houston's is 222. So why is this bumping up a little bit? I'm assuming that's because of some tired leg factors on the back end of a back-to-back for both these guys. You have Atlanta, who is the number 1 pace team over the last 10 games. Houston, honestly, playing with somewhat of a decent pace themselves. But again, I think that Houston can score a lot of points here. I don't know where Atlanta's offense comes from, especially if they still have some of the same guys out. So I'm going to lean towards an under, but it may be one of the spots in which I tell you guys all the time, 2 ships passing in the night. I don't mind a Houston team total over. In fact, let's get an updated number on that before I go, opening my big mouth about it. Because I don't mind a Houston team total is what I'm going to say, as well as a potential, Houston team total right now over 114, 115 and a half. Don't necessarily mind that, whereas you can look at Atlanta and say team total under 113 and a half, 112 and a half. That may be the move, but yeah, Houston as well as some form of maybe a team total under or a full game under for Atlanta. But again, the thing that kind of has a bad taste in my mouth there is like, 1, this is trappy, and 2, I could see Houston putting up a decent, respectable number because Atlanta plays so fast and their defense should not be able to stop Houston down low. Speaking of down low, yes, we can look at some players on the Houston Rockets here because we believe that they should be able to score at ease down there, and we're going to be looking at Sengun as well as Jalen Green. Now, both of these guys played a lot yesterday, right, in that win against the Celtics, but they didn't have the best scoring nights. Jalen Green, who I did like prior to the game, 12 points, 3 of 13 from the field, and then Sengun here, who played 35 minutes, only 11 points. So maybe those guys step it up today. I could see that. Jalen Green, probably the guy that I would look at because he had a bad shooting night and he played less minutes yesterday as well. Also throw in the fact that, if they can get to going from the 3-point line, this is a terrible, I already mentioned the Hawks being bad at defense down low, right? If the Rockets can get things going from deep, which Jalen Green can do as well, the Rockets are a terrible perimeter defense. So maybe we do take a peek at Jalen over there. Like I said, this isn't the best of slates, and we're looking at one here that, from afar looks like this could be a really good nationally broadcasted game and all that. And then we actually think about it, and it's, okay, well, no Paul George, no Joel Embiid, going up against the Lakers team on a back-to-back. Rui Hachimura may miss time here again. We'll see. Again, they're on a back-to-back, so the injury report will come out a little bit later. But, yeah, Philly taking on the Lakers. Don't necessarily love this spot. I will say, I think you can make a little bit of an argument and make a path to get to Philly here. AD, 36, almost 37 minutes played last night. LeBron played almost 37 minutes. Christie played almost 40 minutes. Reeves played almost 38 minutes. So it's like, this is a depleted Philly team, but if the Lakers played everyone against Charlotte, and now they're looking at Philly, who's pretty much Tyrese Maxey and company at this point, why are we going to treat Philly like anything different? Like, maybe the Lakers don't get up for this, don't care as much for it like they normally would. Now, can you make the argument LeBron on national TV? Like, do these guys ultimately just care that much more for a national TV spot? That's totally a possibility, but I think in this one, as weird as it is, I'll sound the psycho alert alarm. I'm looking at the Philadelphia 76ers here to keep this one close, especially given the fact that total's down there at 216. It's like, okay, well, you're going to give me, 4 points, so over 1 possession here with a close game like that. Again, I can totally understand someone's reasoning to be on the Lakers. They're the better team. They should win, the rebounding war for sure, because we know Philly's not that great rebounding. They should win the paint battle. They should win the 3-point battle. But Speaking of traps, like we talked about with the Houston and Atlanta, like why are we coming to this one with the Lakers only being 4-point favorites? They are on a back-to-back. Yes, they've been favorable in that spot this year, but they haven't been the best road team overall. And sure, they go up there and get the win against the Hornets there. They didn't cover that opening number, right? I think if you got a 5, you pushed. If you got a 6 earlier in the day, Charlotte actually ends up covering that one. So yeah, again, like we talked about yesterday, the reason why we like Charlotte, we're going to kind of continue to look in the opposite direction of the Lakers on the road. Now they're on a back-to-back, going up against a team in which I don't think they'll have this like gusto to try and go out there and dominate. You know what I mean? Like this is not the Sixers. And if it is, if the Lakers are treating this like a big game in which, say, they did have Paul George or did have Joel Embiid, then yeah, I can understand that point. But this thing's going to probably move towards, I don't know, I would imagine Lakers -3 by game time, just given the fact that, I think I really don't think the Lakers are going to treat this one like it's a big deal. And again, I can be a dummy in the room in this one, but give me the Sixers plus the 4 points. Nothing, like I mentioned, on paper really makes this look all that great, other than the fact that pull-up jumpers and catch-and-shoot jumpers, honestly, Sixers decent at covering those. They've been a little bit worse in the last few games, but they're decent at covering those. They're fending off some isolation points as well, which is good. We have that with the Lakers, but I'm almost grasping at straws. I truly think this is one of those like momentum feel type games. So you know what? I sounded the cycle alert alarm. I'll let you know it's crazy. If that if we lose here, then it wouldn't shock me. Like I said, this is not my favorite game on the slate. I probably sound a little bit more passionate about it than I actually am. One spot that I could consider, and honestly really don't mind the idea of, would be taking a peek at someone that's actually healthy for Philadelphia. Now, in terms of his history here, let me check that really quickly. I'm looking at like a potential spot of Kelly Oubre. His points are at 18.5, but 1 of 2, so he's averaging 14 against the Lakers in his last 2 games against them. But I do like the idea of him without Paul George. So without Paul George this season, he's averaging over 16 points per game, which isn't terrible. I mean, we're looking for 18 here, but the field goal attempts have been there. He's shooting the ball nearly 14 times per game. His field goal attempts have been like this up and down all year long due to the in and outs of some of these injuries, right? And you look at the Lakers, now Kelly Oubre is going to get a lot of action at both the 3 and the 4. Lakers decent at covering the 3 here. If he ever moves to the 4, he could hit some threes. This is not a very good. LeBron's not locking guys up on the perimeter. He's hanging around the paint a lot more this season. So Kelly Oubre could be a look here as well. Now, from a total perspective, it's sitting at 216, and you know what? Like I said, that does make sense why it'd be so low, but I could see this being in the 220s, just still a very close game. So I will ultimately lean towards the Sixers as well as the over, and then maybe considering something Kelly Oubre related. But again, let me be just ultimately clear that it's not like I sit here and preach Sixers to you guys. This is just one of those weird games on the slate where I think everybody's going to think the Lakers on TV and all that, and it's like, yeah, but they just played last night and their guys played a lot. That's a very old Lakers team. All right, real quick, guys, it is Tuesday, meaning it is Taco Tuesday over on PrizePicks. They still have the play $5, get 50 instantly in promo funds into your account. Yeah, it's literally, you place a $5 entry as a new customer, they will give you $50 in promo funds in the app to be able to use on your future endeavors there. So it's a really cool tool. You 10 extra money like that, literally no strings attached. Promo funds, boom, right in there. So go ahead and check out PrizePicks, guys. That link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment, or you can just sign up using code Guy Boston on your computer, on your phone, your tablet, anything. Use code Guy Boston, you'll get all the same deal, but that link auto applies everything to make sure that you get it. Again, play 5, get 50. Like I've been telling you guys, you hand me $5, I hand you 50. Who wouldn't take that deal, right? Go ahead and check out PrizePicks. Like I said, that link is down below in the pinned comment as well as the description. All right, moving on to the Warriors and the Jazz. This is a massive number. It's 12 on our graphic. I've seen 12.5s out there, so massive number for Golden State. They are the team that is not on a back-to-back, FYI, or one of the teams that are not on a back-to-back. Philly we talked about too, but both those squads are on the front end of a game tomorrow, so they're on the front end of a back-to-back. And it just so happened Golden State's game is at home against OKC tomorrow. Does Golden State really matter in terms of the grand scheme? Are they just that bad? They're in 11th right now in the West, so I don't know if the world or even the Thunder are viewing that game against the Thunder as oh my God, this is going to be a big game. But I bet Steph Curry, Steve Kerr, company still view themselves and have pride of being a good team in the West, which at this point they're not, right? But that means they may be focusing on that game as they go up against the Jazz here, who are dead last in the West. on a back-to-back. Wouldn't be surprised if the Warriors take this one lightly. Now, I will say this, 8 of the last 10 times these two teams played, dating back a couple seasons now, Golden State has won, but they've only covered in 3 of those games. Now, they did cover earlier this year in a 127-86 win, so yeah, that's going to mean a little bit of something. Steph didn't even have the craziest games, but Brendan Podziemski, he played a lot. Buddy Hield, I think, had nearly 30 points, and this was a very banged-up Jazz team. They didn't have, I believe, actually, Lauri Markkanen might have played in that one. I think he only played a handful of minutes, though. Let's see if we can find that box score. So let's see. Colin Sexton played, but I guess they all played minimal minutes, maybe just because of the blowout. So scratch that idea for a second. But overall, we do have a healthy Lauri Markkanen, a healthy Colin Sexton, healthy Keontae George. John Collins may be coming back. Walker Kessler now listed as out, which I do think is a massive deal, given the fact that there's one good thing this Warriors team has been doing, and they've been rebounding the ball fairly well on the season, top 10 in terms of rebound rate. Last 3 games, number 1 team. The Jazz are right behind them, number 2. And then on the season, they're even better, number 4. But Walker Kessler being one of those massive rebounders on the team, I do worry about a little bit. But I think the good thing is that you can still compete rebounding against this Golden State team because they're not like the biggest or most massive team, right? Like they don't have a 7'5" down there rebounding the rock. So yeah, I don't know. Am I just seeing too many crazy things today? I like the Jazz plus the 12 points. To me, it's like that's just too many. Are the Warriors going to win this one by 9? Probably, but like 12 points is 12 points. Yes, the Jazz are on a back-to-back, but they're a little bit, they're young and spry to some degree. I don't mind it. Now, both teams like to shoot the 3 ball. The Jazz kind of stink at it. That's going to worry me, but the Warriors also do score in the paint a decent amount. They've gotten off from it a little bit, but still last 10 games, 10th in terms of in the paint field goal percent frequency. It's a Jazz team that can clog the lane fairly well. Again, Walker Kessler, I don't think people are going to give credit to how important he is, but to me, I'm rolling with it. I'm going to go Jazz here, plus the 12.5 points. Total sitting at 228. I also like the over in this one. I mentioned their, head-to-head stats and whatnot. They're 4-4-1 in their last 9 here. In terms of, I guess 9 was all of those numbers, right? Dating back a couple seasons. They scored 120. It was 127-86 last game. Warriors before that, this was last season, 123-116, which I could see something closer to that today, right? Where the Warriors win. They have their way offensively, but I don't see them stopping some of the Jazz. Again, the Jazz offensive players fairly healthy now. So yeah, it might be crazy. I don't think it's worthy of a cycle alert alarm because 12 points is a lot. Give me the Jazz as well as a lean towards the over. From a player prop perspective, I sit here and want to look at someone like Lauri Markkanen who may have like a Buddy Hield matchup on him, but his line and honestly the way that this team's been playing, just it doesn't really jive well with me. So his points line right now, right? Is a little bit too high for my comfort. It's 21.5. He's only hit that in 4 of his last 10 games. He's only gone over in 38% of games. Head-to-head against the Warriors, 3 straight games under. I do think he kind of fits the bill to do well here, but again, I'm looking for more of like an 18.5 type of a line from him, right? And this Warriors team, like I said, they're good at defending the paint, so we want to target guys on the perimeter. The only other guys that really jump right out to me when we think about perimeter for Utah would be someone like Jordan Clarkson off the bench, maybe Keontae George, that type of thing. So actually, we haven't looked at Keontae George at all. Let's see what his, we don't have it, so we're waiting on John Collins news to get some of those lines, but maybe a threes line for George. Could see that. Steph, I think, is going to have a good offensive game too. And if he's focusing on offense, I don't know if he's going to get the full, point guard defense experience, but maybe Payton switches over there. Not sure. But yeah, I would target the perimeter, I guess, in both senses. Golden State should be able to score in the paint, but obviously they'll rely a little bit more on the jump shot. All right, guys, real quick, before we get into this game, go ahead and comment 19 and let me know in that comment what you think of today's slate. I've said it multiple times. I probably sound like a broken wheel and quite frankly annoying at this point because I'm thinking like this, again, just does not, like this is not a good slate to me as I go and break down each and every game, right? Do you guys feel the same or am I missing something here? Because I guess you can make the argument Houston, Atlanta could be good. Now we have a 5.5 point spread, the one we're about to talk about. You have the Lakers in Philly. Like, am I over-exaggerating this or am I just seeing it clearly? Because like I said, we're coming off a good night. I'm immediately going into this being like, I don't like this slate, not going to force much today. Let me know in the comments. Maybe I am off here. But we have Portland taking on Milwaukee in this one. Now, Milwaukee on a back-to-back. Again, that's why this number is most likely lower than what we see here. In terms of injuries, Bobby Portis listed as out, Green questionable, and back-to-back situations, they have a little bit longer to determine things, so keep that in mind. DeAndre Ayton listed as questionable here. He's missed some time, so if DeAndre Ayton plays, I think that is a pretty big upgrade. I shouldn't even say pretty big, a big upgrade to this Portland squad, right? So Milwaukee, like I said, coming off of their game yesterday, won against Utah by 15. And even that, see, Milwaukee, I would say, is playing a lot better basketball than Golden State. And yet they beat the Utah Jazz by just 3 more points in the spread today. I kind of like that Jazz plus 12.5, but we're on to this game, right? Portland was playing fantastic basketball. They had won 4 straight games, then they played OKC and only lost by 10. That was the game on Sunday, right? We had Hartenstein's over in rebounds and Simon's under in points. Both hit. No big deal. They covered that one. They were 13.5-point dogs. They lost by 10. So this Portland team is playing some good basketball. 5 straight games of covering. My one concern for them would be, how do they match up against this Milwaukee team, and against this Milwaukee team in which Portland beat Milwaukee outright last time they played. We were big on Damian Lillard in that game. He had 16 points, 5 of 15 from the field against his old squad. Giannis did his thing because, again, this Portland team is a good, interior defense. I always give them that credit, right? But it's still Giannis, and if he can get to the line and get fouled, then that's how they could do that. And it's pretty much, no shocker that he's going to try and score even if a team is good at defending the paint, right? But the same thing applies here where, okay, I'm going to give them credit for being this sort of interior defense. Their perimeter defense still worries me a little bit now. Some of the numbers are weird. Like Portland's now become, because they've been playing good basketball, they become a top 10 team in terms of points from 3 against. Like, they're covering the perimeter well. I still don't totally see it. Like, you look at this from a pull-up perspective, so guys like Damian Lillard and that type of thing, they should potentially struggle, but catch-and-shoot guys still should have some success against Portland. So, yeah, we'd mentioned AJ Green being questionable. That could be a spot to look at as well. Even maybe like a Brook Lopez, because Ayton probably won't be chasing him around the 3-point line. But overall, in terms of what we go in this game, I do think I just lean towards Milwaukee. Portland's been playing some really good basketball, but you're telling me this is going to be now in Portland, Damian Lillard's old home. They got beat outright. What was the spread last time they played? They got beat outright as 11.5-point favorites. They got beat outright. Milwaukee has to come into this one with a little bit of zhuzh, you know what I mean? My one little call for concern here would be that the Trailblazers, pretty good covering this year when they have a rest advantage over their opponent, 55%, and Milwaukee covering just 33% of their back-to-back. So, sure, that could be a little bit of a concern. Overall, though, we did see, in terms of minutes played, a lot of minutes from the main guys. Giannis 37 minutes, Lillard played 41 or 42. So if you're on Portland, that's probably the first thing you point at, but I'm much more of a vindictive son of a you-know-what. I think Milwaukee remembers that they lost this game outright, and it was quite embarrassing. So I am going to lean towards Milwaukee minus the 5.5. In terms of what we have from a total here in this one, Portland, again, they're kind of like confusing right now because they're playing really good basketball. Like, the defense has been looking good, but their offense also has been looking fairly good, but they are really like focusing on defense, right? Like, this is their points against in their last 5 games. And one of these is which they gave up 118 against the best team in the league, the Thunder, right? 97, 79, 107, 102. So they are slowing things down for certain. And Milwaukee, on the other hand, their defense has kind of been up and down, but they've had some good defensive looks. So I think that this one could become fairly defensive, and maybe both teams don't have the easiest time scoring, so slight lean to the under. But if Portland just returns to what they used to do, wouldn't be surprised if this one gets into like the 230s, right? But I'm trusting you, Portland, that you can at least bring the defensive intensity that you have been bringing and the pace you have been bringing into your recent games against Milwaukee, who on back-to-backs this season have only covered in 42, hit the over in 42% of games. Player prop wise, like I mentioned, anyone from deep on this Milwaukee team. I do like the idea of AJ Green. I don't think we have any odds for him right now. And then Brook Lopez, let's see if we have anything for him, because his threes line is definitely, it's so dependent on if he's been hitting it. So over 1.5 today. Yeah, 1.5 for actually minus 125. Don't mind that. Last time they played Portland, he only had 1. He didn't really shoot the that crazy amount, but he did shoot 6. So it's like, if you shoot 6, I think I would take 1.5. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is still enough for him to go 33% from deep. So he didn't even have one of those crazy where he shoots 8 type of spots, but he's an above 33% shooter. Last year he was a we have that up, right? Yeah, last year he was nearly a 40%, 38%. This year he's a 37. He takes 6 attempts. I like him, especially with the odds at minus 125. So that could be a look as well. As always, guys, keep an eye down on the pin comment. It'll take you to my final plays. Obviously, like I said, not my favorite slate, so be cautious today. If you love something, obviously it's your own jurisdiction, your own choice. Go and do what you will. But I don't think we'll be seeing too much in the final plays today, just being completely honest. In terms of what we have coming up on Wednesday, we have a bunch of games. I believe we have like 10 or 11 NBA games, and no teams are on, other than Philly and Golden State will be on back-to-backs there. And we do have a couple teams that will be playing on Thursday, but for the most part, they're one-off games. So should have a very good slate tomorrow. So yeah, maybe save some bread for that. But that's all I have for you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.